Hey everybody, Danny Maude here. Thanks for joining us. This week I want to give you something that you can truly experience. Something that if you've been struggling with your ball striking, with your irons or your woods, and you want to know, you might know actually what to do, but you struggle to kind of feel it or transfer it. Maybe you've watched a few videos, yet you're still not seeing the benefit from those videos. Well, often it's because you can understand what to do, but you can't then transfer that understanding into something that you can actually feel. So in this week's golf lesson, I want to share with you how you can start to feel and experience exactly what you need to do through the impact area with your irons and your woods, and also how you can learn to experience how to add the extra few yards. That I like to call it catapult. How do you get extra bit of catapult in the golf club so you can build some speed and some power with that too. Now, before I get into the video, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. Just press that little bell button, next subscribe button, you get notified every time I release a video just like this one. Plus, I always put a free practice plan in the description box below so you never have to remember a thing. Great, now before we get started, do me a favor, pause the video, go and grab a club now so you can experience this with me. If you just watch this passively, you'll maybe understand what to do, but I want you to feel what to do. So you can take whatever you've done, whatever you learned today, you can go and take away, go and practice it, go out and take it to the driving range. That's the difference between understanding and experiencing. So hopefully you pause the video, you grab your club so we can get started. So let's start with some real basic principles before we move on to exactly how you go about doing it. Great ball strikers have some things in common. At the moment they strike a ball at impact, their pressure, their weight will be over onto their lead side here. The handle will be ahead here, the hips will be turned out, and they'll be exploding through. What they won't be is weight on the back foot. They won't be adding loft through impact. They won't be buckling up. They won't be striking the ground behind the golf ball. Now, they do this because they naturally, top players, their swing is always led from the ground up. Their lower body's always moving and it's basically almost dragging the upper body behind it. The torso here is always lagging behind and coming in afterwards. Now this is the opposite if you struggle with ball striking. What often happens with poor ball strikers, and you might be the same, is that what happens here is this: you get to the top, and what you're doing is you're leading with your hands, you're leading with your arms, you're leading with your torso, and the legs are a bit inactive. And when that happens, you end up in this flicky position here, versus what's the difference here? When you lead with your legs, this lags behind, and you end up in all these great places. So let's show you now with one of my all-time favorite drills on how you can learn to fully experience this. So all I want you to do is take the club just in the lead arm, and we're going to make a backswing. I want you to make this backswing, make it back here. Nice good turns. You can check you made a good turn because your lead arm is behind you here. It's not stuck up here. You haven't just picked it up here. You haven't just chucked the club around. You've made a decent turn. Now, here's the trick. I want you to ask yourself this question: what do my feet need to do? How should I move them in order to bring this club from this position back around to this golf ball? Because most players would just want to use their hands. Yeah? And we've just seen what that does. That gets you flicky, gets you inconsistent in terms of your strike. But if you can use the lower body, you can start to learn how to bring it back, not just online, but with power. But how? Well, ask yourself when you do this, what are my feet doing? How are they working in order to bring this club around? I'm not using my arms to do it. My feet are working. Now what I'm feeling is this. I'm feeling a pressure, literally almost like I'm stood on a gigantic lid of a container, and I'm unscrewing it. And what I'm doing is I'm unscrewing the container. Literally the pressure's moving to the front part of my trail foot as I go around to my heel of my lead foot. This is bringing the club back around on this arc that I want. And as I'm doing this, look at this, as I'm unscrewing the lid here, look at how naturally I create these positions. I'm not trying to do that. That's just me unscrewing the lid. Now, I would lose all that if I just swung with my arm, look. It just becomes flicker, then I start to fall backwards. So what I want you to do is resist the urge to use your torso to hit the ball, because if you do that, what you're doing is you're unscrewing the lid with the top half of your body, and if you slice the golf ball, lose a lot of power. Watch, that's this, you're unscrewing with the wrong section. Yeah? you want to unscrew the lid with the lower part of the body. This leaves the upper part a little bit behind. The upper part comes and it comes after, it follows this lower part. That's going to get you online. It will eliminate any of the over the tops. Over the top motions are all caused by unscrewing the upper body too early. The other thing is if you hook the golf ball, it's because you're not unscrewing at all. What tends to happen is with your legs, you're in a sense sliding. So when you slide, look, you get stuck here. Now, well, that's bringing the club where? Not back around, it's bringing it this way. So you need to feel how you use those feet. Bring that club back around here. But that alone, well, that's great. That helps your path, fantastic. Where's the power come from? Because look, if I did this just with my right hand here, and I start to use those feet, well, look, yeah, the club's coming back around, but if I just threw a ball like this, well, there's no power. Not really. So how do you add the sling to this? How do you add the whip, the catapult? Well, you've got to learn to get this lead arm here catapulting off your chest. Either your lead arm or use the right arm to catapult too. Doesn't matter. But how do you do that? Well, again, ask yourself the same question. What role do the feet and the legs play in helping this catapult? If I'm saying to you here, resist the urge to just try and do this, what do the feet do? Well, watch. As I get around now, I'm using the feet to fire. So what does that feel like? Well, for me, it feels like them extending. My lead legs are extending. I'm jumping. I want you to figure this out for yourself by doing this exercise. When you throw a ball, there's just something there. When do you do it? I can't tell you. It's unique to you, yeah? So you make some swings, bring it around, keep working it around, then it's firing. Let's have a look at this action. I'd probably start very small with this. I'd probably do some left arm, lead arm swings here, where I'm turning around, feel like the legs, bringing this club around, and then fire. Get a few senses that backwards and forwards. Maybe even do it with my trail arm. Same thing. Then bring in both, and I start small. So we probably won't reach this green at this stage. Just a small couple of swings. Feeling that those legs are working around. So chip it up there. You're not quite going to reach at this stage, doesn't matter. So from here, work it here, and then I'm going to literally feel what it's like, look, to bring that club around using my legs. And then look at this. Just naturally creates beautiful compression. I felt a lot better. So we just went for it a bit on that one. Okay, nice and simple. So what you're after here is again, use this exercise, hold those arms, resist those arms from firing. One great drill, by the way. We'll go to driver in a second. Orange whip, brilliant for feeling this. Okay, I don't know if you've seen one of these before. I'll put a link in the description below. Where big lump of mass at the end. Bring this mass behind. It's just a great way of feeling this motion and swinging. Now, if I swing my wrist too soon, it's going to get flicky. Look at this. Gets flicky. But look, using the legs, always legs behind, and then I'm going to throw that orange ball through. Yeah? Great way to really get that sensation because it's really heavy, okay? Now, let's have a look at driver. Okay, so I'll bring you to the first hole here on the TrackMan simulator. So, is there a difference with driver? Look, not really in terms of what you try to do. You're still trying to unscrew the lid with your lower body, with the upper body always lagging behind. It's being brought around by what you do with the lower body. The difference is obviously with the driver, we've got the advantage of it being teed up. And with drive, we want to launch it up in the sky so you get the carry. So I will make some alterations obviously in the setup. I'll put a detailed video on how to do that in this top right hand corner here. But for now, nothing really changes. We're going to bring this driver around. The other thing I'll do is you'll see my torso a little bit more back. And when I'm trying to throw now, I'm really trying to use the ground. Because my intent is to get the ball launching, you'll probably see me pushing more up off the ground to do that. You'll do that too. If I wanted a flat trajectory, watch this. I might just stay fairly level. But because my intent is to kind of feel like I'm going to launch it up, well now suddenly as I bring this club around the corner, I might to explode. Again, all very great for understanding but it's complicated if you try and think about it. You have to do this exercise so you can feel it for yourself. So let's have a look at this. So we're going to start small. We're going to go any big shots at this stage. Just tap it down there because I want you to show you how you go about working on this. You might do some swings, just one-handed here, then ask yourself, how am I going to bring this around? There, fly, maybe with my right arm. Use my legs, look, bring it around and get myself set. Don't waste too much time. And just hit a few shots. Again, no massive shots, just literally taking your time, hitting a few shots. That's pretty good for the first one. Now, I would simply start with that first. Get that sensation here of moving this back, asking yourself the question, what do my feet need to do? How are they supposed to work? Look, my pressure goes to the front part of my trail foot, heel of my left. That's what gets the club going around. But look, if you understand that and then you try and copy it and go, well, that's not going to do anything. You've got to use that, you've got to turn, you've got to twist that lid. You've got to use that pressure to bring that club around. Just randomly doing this won't do any good at all, okay? So, hope that really makes sense. You've got slicing problems, this really will eliminate them as long as you get that club around here and then bring it through. So I hope you enjoyed this training. If you did, give it a thumbs up, maybe share it with some of your friends who could do with a bit of help. Start small with it first. Okay, in fact, I'll put a free practice plan and guide on how to do this in the description box below. Go and check it out. Of course, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. Press that little bell button next to subscribe button, you get notified every time I release a video just like this one. So I really hope I'll see you next week. But until next week, have a great golfing week.